Hey guys, welcome to the third set, tied 1-1, HwaSueng versus Hite Sparkyz. Love saying that actually, Hite. It's just fun to say. I think that's it. Hopefully it's not hit or whatever. Anyway, we got Leta, who's been an absolute superstar for OGN, for Hite. Just a really, really solid Terran player all the way around, and he's going up against GGaeMo. I'm not sure how we're going to pronounce him, so I'm just going to call him the Zerg player, I guess, throughout this match. And it's going to be on Heartbreak Ridge, which I think is one of those maps which is all about large unit control across the middle. It's basically about controlling your army back and across these ridges that are across the middle of the map. It looks really, really fun. And I have Kenny alongside once again, which has been an absolute blast. We're going to pump this set out.
Well, guys, they named this map after the street that my house is on, and for obvious reasons. You gotta say that I think this game would go to Leta, at least in the advantage-wise. You got, of course, Leta just is a beast at Terran vs. Zerg. I really think he's an interesting player to watch. He's very unique. I would definitely not consider him like the usual type of Terrans we see, like the Flashes, where they are much more mechanically based Terran players, which is a lot more common for Terran players, I think. I mean, as you can see, GGaeMo, or GGaeMo, let's just call him GG, as you can see, he's got a lot of female fans already, and that's a good thing to have. It's always nice to look out to the crowd and see a whole bunch of hot Korean girls cheering you on in your game. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But Heartbreak Ridge is kind of an interesting looking map. If you haven't seen it before, it is like a two-player. It's got a lot of weird ridges and whatnot in the middle of the map, which I think would, I mean, you'd think they'd play to the Terran's advantage, but I mean, it's not really easy to tell in this kind of a matchup because it can work both ways, of course, with lurkers being on those ramps. We're just going to have to see how it plays out. I definitely don't think it's a good Mutalisk map. I would never see it being a good Mutalisk map. Maybe it is. I just haven't seen a whole lot of games on it, obviously it being one of the more new maps that they play in the pro leagues as of right now. But I have seen it played a couple times before, so it should be interesting. What do you think about this match, Diggity?
I think there's so many advantages for lurkers. I can't imagine going Mutalisks because you have those bridges right across where you can just set lurkers across the top. Basically at almost every single ridge location. Why would you bother with Mutalisks? You can also, if you can get some, lurkers up over that secondary, you can actually hit them cliffside up above, which is just, you know, annoying. It looks like an engineering bay blockade. Why it's an engineering bay and not a supply depot, I'm not sure. Yeah, gonna blockade that. Looks like the drones are already starting to break that down. But yeah, I really feel like lurkers are just, there's just so many reasons to use lurkers on this map, let alone map control. But ridge after ridge after ridge, why would you not want to use lurkers in this match? And I also expect to see a little bit more tank action kind of mixed into this for Terran. So I'm excited to see maybe some more tech option builds here. It looks like we are seeing some sort of a front door seal there for Leta. So Leta looks like thinking about putting that barracks, hugging that kind of that gap in. So he's going to stick to one base, and we'll see what he's up to at opposite end. Spawning pool and extractor now down for GG, and I'm just going to call him, I got to say, just the Zerg, because GG's GG play. It's just too cool. GGaeMo has just got a funny name. I don't know of anyone else that has such a kind of awkward name like him.
Yeah, whatever. We'll call him what we want to call him. Now we see a bunker going down, and it's quite obvious that he's not going to be bringing anything over. I think he's just using this as a lure tactic, trying to pull some more drones out. I could be wrong, but I just don't see any Marines coming. Maybe if they are on the way, then
Yeah,
this is a great idea. But I think he's just faking this, which is a great idea. I mean, I've done that a few times myself in games. It's a good way to make the Zerg waste even more mining time, which is obviously a good thing. And speaking of one base play, Leta is really the master of that. I like to say Leta loves doing a lot of early game Wraith harass especially. I've seen him do so much, and he's much more of a mech user than I'd say a standard kind of SK Terran type user. So I think we'll be looking for that, especially on this type of a map. Like you were saying, Diggity, it is just such a great map for that, man, and I can't see the Zerg player going for Mutalisk, and I'm pretty sure Leta, being a professional StarCraft player, knows about this, so he is going to probably adjust to that. And there we go, we see the early starports again. This is very standard of Leta, so interesting play. I really think it's going to be fun. I think what Leta is going to focus on with these wraiths, obviously, along with taking out overlords, he will also be looking to do a lot of harassment on probably the natural there and take out some drones, so be looking for that.
It looks like that Overlord's starting to scoot up. I like Wraith play. I feel like Wraith are just easier to micro than Mutalisks into the mid game. If you can move them around the map, you can get a degree of map control, particularly if you can pick the Overlords off. You just have to make sure you don't go suiciding in against Hydralisks with Overlords at fixed positions. So I really feel, depending on what kind of tech the Zerg player goes, that's right, the Zerg player, single Vulture kind of wandering out to kill a couple Zerglings on the field. Looks like he is in fact going to go that Hydralist in. So all he has to do is establish position around basically his base. Is actually going both Spire and Den off 2 bases. Interesting. We'll see what he kind of does with that. The Wraith are being produced alongside. Doesn't look like there's a control tower down to provide any cloaking, but I think Leta does know that his tech has been revealed. The nice thing is I really feel like you should just try to push an Overlord over the secondary as quickly as possible. Leta very intelligently killed those Zerglings that I think were on the way already, just to deny that second expansion as long as possible. Hydra should be coming out as quickly, and really the key to this is, yeah, getting Overlord speed and trying to deny that secondary as long as possible and force those Wraith back to that location. So and as a result, if you can do that, I think you can defend your drone line at the same time. So it'll be kind of down to decision making, where basically I think it's up to more GGaeMo where he's going to kind of decide where the attacks are going to take place, and whether Leta can just kind of expose the holes in the Zerg defense. He's definitely going to lose. That's what 3 Overlords he's going to end up losing already, which hurts. You never want to lose any Overlords, but especially 3 to Wraith early is just very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, as you can see, he's going for the cloak again. This is so common for Leta to do this type of thing. I've casted quite a few games where he's ended up doing the same strategy, and really, it's a strategy that requires a lot of wit about you. And I think that's what Leta, like I was explaining earlier, has. Really, it's a situation where if you don't do the damage you need to do, this strategy is absolutely retarded. If you can't do this, I mean. This is wasting so much money, so much gas. You're not getting the early expansion. There's just so many things that it does waste if you don't make it pay off. So it is a strategy that you need to do a ton of damage with, and be looking for him to probably do some sort of switch after this, or just go straight mech. He's going to need to make the switch soon if he's going to even make a switch at all. He might just be completely dedicating himself to Wraiths at this point. I mean, usually when you go 2 starport and you're going cloak, you're dedicating yourself to a heavy, or at least early Wraith build, and then maybe moving to, sometimes they like to switch it to like 2 or 3 racks and put down a few racks and just try to surprise the Zerg with a Marine medic force. But right now, as you can see, he's cloaking up and he's going in right now, really using this ridge to his advantage, trying to pick off some of those Overlords, doing a great job microing his Wraiths, and this is what he's so known for. He's just great at this, and he's doing a lot of damage to these Zerg Mutalisks, and he's almost got that first Overlord down. He didn't quite get it down, and using this ridge, man, they might as well call this they might as well call this map Brokeback Ridge or something, because he's making this ridge ultra gay for the Zerg to have to defend against. And really, I gotta say, he's doing a great job making the Zerg player waste so many units defending against these. I mean, that's a lot of Mutalisks. He's really getting his money worth out of these Wraiths, I gotta say, Diggity. This is pretty nice strategy in use of the Wraiths.
Yeah, that was really, I like that decision making, particularly the angle of attack he was taking. He was making it so the Hydralisks really couldn't go up and do any damage the way they were kind of popping in over that ridge. He managed to pick off a lot of Overlords, and he had enough Wraith in that grouping where he could just take out the Mutalisk before the Mutalisk could really get a shot, and just dodging in and out of detection ring. Looks like that Overlord speed has kicked in, and gonna end up losing maybe a Wraith or 2 right now, and the Mule's just hunting him down. They're not cloaked, and they're gonna, that's devastating for Leta. And this is now the question is, he's cloaking back up, managed to cloak back up, is can he take a secondary? And honestly, at the moment, I don't think he can, which is what hurts. Is Zerg basically can throw units at you, he can go and try to do some damage, he can kind of basically decide what he wants to do from here, and you in the meantime are isolated away from your base. This is kind of the situation I think you don't want to be in. You want to basically, do enough economic damage where the Zerg is like crap, versus you having to worry about taking an additional base. Although he's pretty well locked up in there with the turrets. A lot of it looks like he is going to switch back to that barracks, like you were saying, Kenny. What do you think he can do to kind of push back out onto this? Do you feel like he's done enough damage, or after losing all those Wraith, has it basically equalized?
Well, I think it is somewhat equalized after losing those Wraiths. Really, he kept the Zerg player creating units and losing units, but now the Zerg player is basically doing a standard 2-hatch. I mean, really, this is the same situation as if he were to start off going early like 2 racks against a 2-hatch Mutalisk. I mean, that's basically what it's at. He's got a few Wraiths. He's going to need to get his expansion up and running soon, but I think what he's looking to do first is establish enough units that the Zerg player can't be offensive and really trap him in his base. That's a lot of Mutalisks. I really think Leta's in a decent amount of trouble right now. This is the time where if he doesn't make the right decisions and he doesn't save his units very carefully, this could be very bad for him. But also, seeing that he does have quite a few Wraiths still, he still has made a lot of Wraiths, he is safe for the meanwhile, but if he doesn't get meds out soon in stim, this is going to be very hard. As we see the Hydralisks are coming in as well, there's the medics, so this is going to come down to really pure Muta micro versus Wraith micro. Can he get those overlords? Can he defend against all this? And as you see, he's doing a decent amount of damage, actually. I think this is what Leta was looking for. This is the break he was looking for right there. He's now going to be able to get those overlords, and he's going to push the Zerg player back, so he's now completely safe. There's nothing the Zerg player can do at this point besides minimize the Marine and Medic forces, but he has no overlords in sight and losing tons and tons of Mutalisks, so that's exactly the break Leta was looking for. He can probably now afford to put out that early command center like we were talking about, Diggity. I think this is his time to do it. If he's going to do it at all, this would be the time.
Wow, he just basically outplayed GGaeMo right there. He just microed his units so much better in that attack force. Forced him to try to micro his Mutalisks, and the Hydralisks just were kind of incompetent underneath is what it almost looked like. Yeah, pushing out, going into the bonus. Now he can take his expansion, and from here he's got all the options in the world. He can go mech, he can continue with this medic marine push, he can put down another control tower, put down a science facility, and go SK. He's just got basically, yeah, he's in a fantastic position, has a lot of options, and continuing with that Wraith force just micro beautifully. And GGaeMo, yeah, he's in a terrible position. I think his only option is to produce a ton of units and try to break, try to get something done that way. But honestly, I don't think he's going to get it done. He's got Hydralisks versus a medic marine force, with still some Wraith going out and doing some spotting and being annoying in the meantime. So even if he manages to commit all of his troops forward, he's going to end up losing a lot of drones at home, unless he keeps unless he does that right there, which was nice. But ooh, looks like the Wraith force getting kind of pushed back. But at the very least, even if Leta loses these Wraith at this stage, he's managed to take his secondary, and he basically can push tech whichever direction he wants. He has the entire lay of the Terran army in front of him. I think what he's just going to do is try to get a good look at what GGaeMo's, basically his troop composition, what he's deciding to do, and then just counter it perfectly. And really, yeah, unless GGaeMo just runs up and completely crushes him with overwhelming forces and some magic micro, which I don't see happening, I think Leta's got this game.
Yeah, this is really the situation that most Terrans look to get into. What they'll do is, it's usually a lot different than what Leta does, but they'll usually push them like, hey, I'm going to go mech and fake it, basically, and throw down those 3 or 4 barracks, and really just push out with a Marine Medic force against Hydralisks, which are absolute trash against a Marine Medic force of this size. So, I mean, this is exactly the situation he wanted to be in. As you can see, Lurkers are morphing right now, so GG did make a little bit of a switch to try to fight against these, but it's just too little too late, I think. Really, now Leta has complete map control and dominance, and he's going to push in early right here, and if he can get the snipe off on that Lurker, he did. This game is over. There is nothing left. This is the game. I mean, really, even if he fails on this attack, he's done the damage he needs to do. He's still continuing to pump and reinforce, as you can see on the mini-map. There's just nothing that GGaeMo can really do at this point, and I think that it's going to be over very shortly. He's going to probably have to GG this within the next attack. He's going to probably try to push out right here, and if this fails, he'll GG. That would be my guess, at least.
Yeah, and honestly, more medic marines pushing up. There's the siege tanks. I was just about to say, and if siege tanks come in, that's definitely game. Siege tank is researching. This is what I was talking about. He just has so much flexibility here. He could have put down a second factory if he wanted to. Doesn't need to at this stage. He again could have put down the science facility. Doesn't need to at this stage. He's got enough comsat to just burst his way in, and he's building, looks like, a bunker on that front door just in case this attack fails to seal it in. I really feel like that key fight was that fight where he allowed the Hydralisk to just absolutely burst on his medic marines, and then the Wraith just picked those Wraith apart. Beautiful micro on Leta's part. And I'm not sure, because I haven't been playing a lot of Zerg lately, and I'm not a Terran player ever, generally. Have you done a lot of Zerg play, Kenny, where you feel like, where you would be able to comment which you think it's harder to micro, either the Zerg side in that situation or the Terran side?
Well, I think in the situation of the Wraith versus Muta Micro, it's always going to be more difficult for the Wraiths to come out on top. Really, the problem was he only had 2 Overlords, and Leta had enough wraiths that those could go down basically within 2 full shots of those wraiths. So all he had to do was get 4 shots off on those, and they were completely cloaked. Really, the Mutalisks do a ton of damage to those bunched up wraiths, but he just wasn't microing to the best of the ability there, and he just didn't have the numbers really. I mean, enough medic and marines had gotten out to do the damage and take out those hydralisks and help push over those mutos, and that really was the deciding factor. I feel like had he been a little bit more aggressive